In Grimm Fairy Tales, we catch up with the Snow Queen as the Snow Queen is plotting to have this little girl killed, and she's manipulating little Timmy to help her do so. But little Timmy is having reservations about the whole thing, but she pulls little Timmy aside and she basically warns Timmy that, hey, you better get this shit done or I'm gonna kill you. So little Timmy sets off on his mission. So back in the real world, little Timmy is causing all kinds of havoc at his school, but his teacher grabs him and pulls him aside and gives him a nice talking to. And while all that's going on, we catch up with Sella as Sella is getting some intel from her hawk on the Snow Queen's plan. When we catch back up with little Timmy, he's planning to push this girl into the road, but Sella shows up just in the nick of time to stop him, and she manages to talk a little bit of sense into him. And now that Sella has saved this little girl, she sets off to find the Snow Queen in order to rescue her friend Samantha. Now, who is Samantha? Well, that's another can of worms. We're not going to get into that, but Samantha is in the custody of the Snow Queen and the Snow Queen is waiting for her. Now, Sella does eventually make her way into Belinda's lair, Belinda being the Snow Queen. And as Sella approaches, she goes through a series of mirrors in order to get to the Queen, and the Queen basically puts this bitch under a genjutsu, causing her to hallucinate and experience a lot of traumatic visions. But Sella does eventually manage to break through the visions, and she continues to pursue the Queen. But as she continues through the next mirror, she ends up becoming a pawn in the story of two sisters named Snow White and Red Rose. Now, as the story of Snow White and Red Rose persists, Snow White is by the water after having a conversation with her sister, and she's eventually knocked out by an evil dwarf, but little does she know, her sister is actually the one that set her up. Now, as she's in the clutches of these dwarves, her sister breaks in to rescue her, but the dwarves warn her to stay back. But her sister ends up making a deal with the dwarves. Her sister gives her life in exchange for Snow White. And as Snow White goes free and the door is shut, Sella makes it out of the mirror and she finally makes it to Belinda. So as Sella is on the floor exhausted, Belinda decides to sick her goons on Sella. But Sella is having none of it and she squashes one goblin's neck like it's nothing. After that, these two bitches get ready to duke it out, with Belinda threatening to kill Samantha. This forces Sella to drop her guard, and as she drops her guard, she gets attacked by bears. But Sella manages to pull a reverse Uno card and she gets the bears to start attacking each other. And then she proceeds to summon a wolfman that almost manages to kill Belinda, but Belinda summons a beast man of her own, and then Belinda summons the Pied Piper, causing a swarm to eat the wolfman. But Sella summons a giant that squashes Belinda's beastman. Now, as the giant closes in on Belinda, Belinda shatters the roof, bringing ice crystals down onto the giant and encasing him in ice. And then she proceeds to grab a massive icicle and runs over to Sella to go woman to woman with her. Now, as these two bitches duke it out with blades, eventually Sella does manage to get the better of Belinda. Now, Sella has Belinda on the floor and she wants Belinda to release the curse on Samantha. Now, Belinda agrees to release the curse on Samantha, but she tells her it won't matter anyway because her soul still belongs to me. So Sella tells Belinda that she will give herself in exchange for Samantha, and Belinda is stunned. Nevertheless, Belinda agrees to this. So Belinda releases the curse on Samantha, and Sella walks over to Samantha to make sure she's okay. But as Sella is talking to herself about all the mistakes that she has made along the way, Belinda walks up and simply stabs her in the back, stating that she couldn't listen to her holier-than-thou monologue any longer. Now, Belinda takes off, leaving Sella to bleed out, but she honored the deal and she left Samantha alone. And while Sella tells Samantha to escape, Sella is left to bleed out in a pool of her own blood. Not all fairy tales have a happy ending. To be continued.